I think you're getting senile.
Watch your mouth, young man.
I can't watch it. It's under my nose.
What if the show that made everyone rich ended up destroying half the people who were on it? Think about that for a second. One actor walked away from over $100 million. Another spent years in courtrooms and rehab while his fortune disappeared. A third stood on stage and called the show that made him famous filth. And one cast member spent her final weeks in a hospital bed, unable to speak or move, while the world barely noticed. But here is the part that nobody talks about. While all of that was happening, someone else from the exact same show was quietly turning his TV paycheck into a billion-dollar investment empire. And the women who were always treated like background characters? They ended up outlasting almost everyone. 2.5 Men ran for 12 seasons. It made every single person on that cast rich and famous. But what happened after the cameras stopped rolling tells a completely different story. Some of them rebuilt their lives. Some of them lost almost everything. And the truth about where they all ended up will genuinely shock you. Stay until the end of this video, because the last thing I am going to show you is a net worth comparison of every single cast member side by side. And trust me, the gap between the highest and the lowest will leave your jaw on the floor. Before we get into the people, you need to understand just how big this show really was. 2.5 Men was not just a popular sitcom. It was a machine. A money machine that ran for over a decade and turned everyone it touched into a millionaire. It started in 2003 on CBS. The idea was simple. A lazy, fun-loving bachelor named Charlie Harper shared his beach house in Malibu with his uptight divorced brother Alan and Alan's young son Jake. That was it. 3 guys, 1 house, a lot of jokes. But something about it clicked with people right away. The show became one of the most watched comedies on American television. It ran for 12 full seasons, produced 262 episodes, and pulled in hundreds of millions of dollars in advertising and syndication deals. At its peak, it was the #1 comedy on TV. Everyone in America knew what it was. The cast got paid like superstars. The writers became wealthy. The producers built empires. And for a while, it looked like the good times would never stop. But they did stop. And when they did, each person on that cast had to figure out who they were without the show. Some of them had an answer. Some of them did not. We are going to start here. Not with the biggest star. Not with the biggest scandal. We are going to start with the woman who was the emotional center of the entire show, even though most people never realized it. Conchata Ferrell was born on March 28, 1943 in West Virginia. She did not grow up dreaming about Hollywood. She studied at 2 different universities. She worked regular jobs. She came to acting slowly and seriously. And when she finally found her way to the stage, she was extraordinary. Her performance in a play called The Seahorse in 1973 won her major theater awards and proved she was the real thing. When she was cast on 2.5 Men as Berta, the sharp-talking housekeeper, the role was only supposed to last 2 episodes. 2. The character was meant to be small, forgettable, a quick joke and then gone. But Conchata Ferrell did something with that character that nobody expected. She made her feel real. She brought a rough honesty to Berta that the producers had not written but immediately recognized. They loved what she created. The 2-episode role turned into a regular part starting in season 2. She ended up appearing in 212 episodes and became one of the most loved characters on the entire show. She received Emmy nominations in 2005 and 2007 for her work. She never won, but the people who worked with her every day knew exactly how good she was. Then in late 2019, her health began to fail. A kidney infection became serious very quickly. In May 2020, she was admitted to the hospital. She spent more than 4 weeks in intensive care. She suffered a cardiac arrest. After that, she was unable to speak or communicate. She was moved into a long-term care facility where she spent her final months. On October 12, 2020, Conchata Ferrell passed away at Sherman Oaks Hospital in California. She was 77 years old. Her career had lasted nearly 50 years. She had appeared in films like Edward Scissorhands, Erin Brockovich, and True Romance. She had taught acting at UCLA. She had 3 Emmy nominations across her lifetime. After she passed, the messages came pouring in. Chuck Lorre called her a steady presence through years of laughter. Charlie Sheen called her a true professional and a genuine friend. Jon Cryer wrote about the warmth behind Berta's tough personality and said he would miss her deeply. Her husband had attended tapings for years and watched proudly from the audience every single time. She left behind her husband, her daughter, and 2 stepdaughters. She gave nearly 50 years to her craft and never stopped working until her body would not let her anymore. Remember her name. Now let's talk about the man at the center of it all. But we are not going to start where every other video starts. We are not going to open with tiger blood or Twitter meltdowns. Because before any of that happened, Charlie Sheen was already one of the biggest stars in the world. He was born Carlos Erwin Estevez on September 3, 1965 in New York City. His father was Martin Sheen, one of the most respected actors of his generation. Charlie broke through with Platoon in 1986, a war film that won the Academy Award for Best Picture. The very next year, he stood beside his father in Wall Street. After that came the Hot Shots comedies, which showed he could make people laugh just as easily as he could make them feel. By the time CBS came calling in 2003, Charlie Sheen was already a proven movie star. He did not need television. But the role of Charlie Harper fit him almost perfectly. The character lived fast, loved parties, and never worried about consequences. It was not much of a stretch. The show became a massive hit instantly, and Sheen rose with it faster than anyone could have predicted. By 2010, he was earning $1.8 million for every single episode. When you added in syndication money, his yearly income came close to $48 million. At his peak, his net worth sat at around $150 million. He was the highest paid actor on television. He was untouchable, or so it seemed. Then 2011 happened, and everything fell apart in a way that nobody had ever seen before on live television. After entering drug rehab, Sheen started attacking the show's creator Chuck Lorre in public. He called him names. He gave wild interviews. He talked about tiger blood and Adonis DNA. He called himself a Vatican assassin. He seemed to enjoy every second of the chaos. Within weeks, he had gained 1 million Twitter followers faster than anyone in history. The whole country was watching. On March 7, 2011, Warner Brothers Television fired him. Sheen responded by filing a lawsuit demanding $100 million. He launched a live tour called The Torpedo of Truth and made about $7 million from it. He earned money from sponsored tweets. Forbes reported he made more than $40 million that year, the biggest single year of his entire career, ironically enough. From 2012 to 2014, he starred in a new show called Anger Management. The deal included a share of profits that could have been worth between $75 and $200 million. Nobody is completely sure how much of that he actually received. What is clear is that the money was disappearing as fast as it came in. 3 divorces, heavy child support payments, nearly $7 million owed in back taxes. He gave away around $30 million to charity without ever telling anyone. He gave Lindsay Lohan $100,000 after working with her on a film. In 2015, he sold his future earnings from 2.5 Men for $27 million, giving up steady income just to get quick cash. That same year, he went on The Today Show and revealed that he had been HIV positive for several years. Then something quietly shifted. The headlines slowed down. The chaos faded. In 2017, he got sober. And the moment that finally pushed him to make that change was not a court case or a health scare. It was forgetting one of his daughter's appointments. That small, ordinary moment hit him harder than anything else. By 2026, his net worth stands at about $3 million. The man who once earned $2 million for a single half-hour episode saw a fortune of $150 million disappear through addiction, legal fights, taxes, and a lifestyle that finally caught up with him. But he says he is at peace. He texts regularly with his former wives. He is raising his twin sons. He says everyone is tired of bad energy. Maybe that is worth more than the money. While everyone was watching Charlie Sheen fall apart, someone else was quietly building something enormous. And almost nobody saw it coming. When Sheen was fired, CBS needed a replacement fast. Hugh Grant was asked first and said no. So on May 13, 2011, the network announced that Ashton Kutcher would be joining the cast. Most people laughed. Kutcher was the funny guy from that 70s show. He was the prankster from MTV's Punk'd. He was not exactly who you pictured stepping into one of the biggest roles on television. But the season 9 premiere pulled in 28.7 million viewers. It was the most watched comedy episode of that entire year. Kutcher earned about $800,000 per episode, close to $20 million per season, making him the highest-paid television actor in the world at that moment. Here is the part that changes everything, though. While Kutcher was on set, he was spending every spare moment studying business and building connections in Silicon Valley. In 2010, before he even joined 2.5 Men, he had already helped launch a venture capital fund called A Great Investments with $30 million. Within a few years, that fund had grown into hundreds of millions. He placed a $500,000 bet on Uber when it was just a small startup. That investment alone turned into tens of millions. He also backed Airbnb, Spotify, Skype, and Robinhood, all before they became the giants they are today. In 2015, he and his partner created Sound Ventures, focused on funding early-stage startups. By 2025, his portfolio included more than 70 companies. In August of that year, he helped lead a $2.7 billion deal to take Soho House private and earned a seat on the board. Acting was never really his main event. The show was just the platform. The real game was always happening somewhere else. He earned $800,000 per episode on 2.5 Men. But his net worth today is estimated in the hundreds of millions. Most of it built not in front of a camera, but behind a laptop in a meeting room in Silicon Valley. Not every story in this video is about a fall or a surprise comeback. Some stories are about something quieter. Something that is actually harder to do than any of the drama. Jon Cryer's story is about just showing up every single day and doing the work. He was born April 16, 1965 in New York City. He first became famous in 1986 playing Ducky in Pretty in Pink, a role people loved but that also threatened to lock him into one type of character forever. Years passed. His career slowed down. Then 2.5 Men gave him a second chance at exactly the right moment. He played Alan Harper, Charlie's nervous, unlucky, broke but always optimistic brother. And he played him for all 262 episodes across 12 seasons. He was the only actor who never left the cast. Not once. His salary started at around $550,000 per episode and rose to about $620,000. By the time the show ended, he had earned close to $100 million, including syndication money. He won an Emmy in 2009 as supporting actor, then won again in 2012 as lead actor after Sheen left. 6 total nominations over the years. After the show ended, he kept working Lex Luthor on Supergirl, a new series called Extended Family, his own production company with his wife. In 2024, he reunited with Holland at the Emmy Awards and briefly stepped back into their old mother and son roles from the show. The crowd loved it. His net worth today sits between $65 and $70 million. He was never the loudest person in the room. He never had a meltdown. He never made the front page for the wrong reasons. He just kept working. And in the end, that turned out to be the smartest strategy of all. Most people remember Angus T. Jones for one thing, the video where he called the show filth and told people to stop watching it. But if that is all you know about his story, you are missing the most interesting part. He was born October 8, 1993 in Austin, Texas, and started acting very young. He landed the role of Jake Harper at just 9 years old. Audiences watched him grow up on screen across 12 seasons. By 2010, he was earning $300,000 per episode, making him the highest-paid child actor on television. Before he turned 20, he had already earned tens of millions of dollars. Then, in November 2012, everything shifted. He appeared in a religious video online and called 2.5 Men filth. He said he felt like a paid hypocrite. He said his new beliefs conflicted with the content of the show. The reaction was immediate and fierce. In 2013, his role was reduced. In 2014, he officially left. He came back only once, a brief cameo in the very last episode. After stepping away, he enrolled at the University of Colorado and enjoyed being anonymous for the first time in his life. Over time, the intensity of his beliefs softened. He has said that his thinking had become very extreme during that period and that he learned to relax and enjoy life again. He has spoken openly about struggling with marijuana during his teenage years. He has also said he looks back on the show with appreciation and calls it a once-in-a-lifetime experience. As of 2026, he is 32 years old with a net worth of about $20 million. He earned almost all of it before he was even an adult. He walked away from tens of millions more, and he says he is happy. Whether you agree with his choices or not, that is his story. Here is something the internet never talks about enough. While the men in this cast were making headlines for all kinds of reasons, the women on the show were quietly building some of the most impressive careers of anyone in the entire cast. Let's fix that right now. Melanie Lynskey was born on May 16, 1977 in New Zealand. She was only 17 when she got her first big film role alongside Kate Winslet in Heavenly Creatures. On 2.5 Men she played Rose, Charlie Strange, unpredictable neighbor who started as his stalker and slowly became part of his world. The role kept her visible for 12 seasons. But her biggest moment was still a long way off. In November 2021, she appeared as Shauna in the series Yellow Jackets. The performance changed how the entire industry saw her. She won the Critics' Choice Award for Best Actress in a Drama Series in 2022. She received 2 consecutive Emmy nominations for Outstanding Lead Actress. Then in 2023, she appeared in The Last of Us as a ruthless villain whose calm voice hid something terrifying. That role won her the Critics' Choice Super Award for Best Villain. By November 2025, she had collected 24 award wins and 49 nominations. She spent years being overlooked. Then the world finally caught up to her. Marin Hinkle was born in Tanzania, where her American parents were serving in the Peace Corps. She trained as a ballet dancer for years until an ankle injury at 16 ended that dream and pushed her toward acting. She graduated from Brown University and earned a master's degree from NYU's graduate acting program. On 2.5 Men she played Judith, Alan's tense, combative ex-wife, and earned around $500,000 per episode at her peak. Then, in 2017, she was cast as Rose Weissman in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. The role let her show a completely different side of her talent. She received Emmy nominations for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series in both 2019 and 2020. The show became one of the most watched comedies on Amazon Prime. In 2025, she returned to live stage performance at the Geffen Playhouse in Los Angeles. Her career has never relied on big dramatic moments. It has just moved forward with steady purpose. Holland Taylor was born on January 14, 1943. By 2026, she is 83 years old and still working. She played Evelyn Harper, the sharp, complicated mother of Charlie and Alan, and brought decades of experience to every scene she was in. She received 4 Emmy nominations during the run of the show. She had already won an Emmy in 1999 for her role on The Practice before 2.5 Men ever existed. After the show, she wrote and performed a one-woman Broadway play about former Texas governor and Richards that ran for 132 performances. She appeared in The Morning Show on Apple TV+. She is still acting, still creating, still going. She earned about $75,000 per episode, far less than her male co-stars. And she may have built the most lasting legacy of all of them. Now let's step back and look at all of them together. Because when you do, something becomes very clear. The same show, the same money, completely different outcomes. Charlie Sheen earned $150 million and has $3 million left. Jon Cryer showed up for every episode of 12 seasons and built $70 million in wealth. Ashton Kutcher used his TV platform to build a Silicon Valley empire worth hundreds of millions. Angus T. Jones walked away from everything at 19 and says he is at peace. The women kept building quietly while everyone else made headlines. And Conchata Ferrell gave nearly 50 years to her craft and never stopped until her body made her stop. The money was never really the point. The point was identity. Who were these people when the cameras stopped? What did they do when the thing that defined them was suddenly gone? Some of them had an answer ready. Some of them had to find one the hard way. Some of them are still figuring it out. 2.5 men made them all rich. But what they did next, that is what told you who they actually were. And now, here is the net worth comparison I promised you at the start. Every cast member. Side by side. The gap between the top and the bottom is something you have to see to believe.